Hey fellow chromatic mountain dulcimer players, I've got some important stuff to show you. I'm running out of sunlight and I got mosquitoes, so I'm gonna have to be fast with this. Let's look at the three D major shapes in DAD. You've got the 002, that L chord, 2, 3, 4, the slant, 4, 5, 7, the extended slant, and I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the L again at 7, 7, 9. 002, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 7, 7, 7, 9. Layered along with those, you have some arpeggios. Let's talk really quick about arpeggios. Look at this L shape down here, this 002. Here's a nice 3-string arpeggio where you have 2 notes on the outer strings and 1 note on the middle string. Well, here's another arpeggio where I put 2 notes on the bass, 2 on the middle, and then you can shift up into the next shape. I want you to ignore this stuff right now because these fancier arpeggios really can all be deduced later. And with what I want to show you, it's really better if you start thinking of 2-string arpeggios. So we have a 3-string chord, the L, but we've got a 2-string arpeggio, and I'm going to put 2 notes on each string. So I got 0 and 2 on the bass, 0 and 3 on the middle, and we're just going to leave out the melody string. Same thing for the slant here. What's the 2-note per string arpeggio here? Well, you got 2 and 4 on the bass, 3 and 5 on the middle. You can extend these out later. Just take my word for it. For the 4, 5, 7 chord, we've got 4 and 7 on the bass, 5, 7 on the middle. And then back up to the L, you got 7 and 9 on the bass, 7 and 10 on the middle. 3 chord shapes, 002, that's the L. 2, 3, 4, that's the slant. 4, 5, 7 is the extended, back to the L with 7, 7, 9. Then for these 2-string arpeggios where you have 2 notes per string, the L gets this one, the slant gets this one, the extended gets that, and then back to the L. All right. This is the foundation for some of the fancier pentatonic patterns. You're going to use these shapes and these arpeggios to guide the melodies you create. And I'm working on improvising melodic lines, and I want to be able to do it well no matter where the hand is. You know, too many years I think the audience hears me searching, and this system that I've worked on since COVID started is, I think I'm no longer searching. I know what's available to me, and I want to share it with you. All right, so get those shapes down, get those arpeggios down. Now, what does that mean to get them down? Because we're working towards getting pentatonic shapes to layer with these as well. Well, you've got to be able to do it for D, G, and A. All right, so the 2-string arpeggios for G, that's the extended slant, is right under my hand. Here's the L right under my hand, the slant, and then back to the extended. Here's my A, extended, and then the L, and then the slant, and then the extended. Well, that takes care of the majors. What about the minors? All right, so in the key of D, we have 3 minors. We have B minor, E minor, F sharp minor. Same idea here, but all your thirds are going to be flatted, 1 fret space, but all the same shapes. So B minor starts with the slant. It's good to review the shapes. The extended slant, mosquitoes, and the L back to the slant. Your E minor, you got an L, slant, extended L. Your F sharp minor, you don't have enough room down here to get the extended, but you do have the L, the slant, the extended, the L again. So for each one of these, there's an arpeggio, B minor. Doesn't hurt to end on the root sometimes just to get your ear in the right place. The extended slant, the L, the slant again. You got your E minor, it's an L, slant. Sorry, messed that one up. Where are we? We're on E minor, that's right. And then the extended slant one. And then the L. We've got F sharp minor. Messing up those slants. The extended. So make sure you got all this down before you go into this next part. And if you're already bailing on the video, just come back to it later. All right, here's the real stuff I want you to see. This is the real magic. All right, as far as pentatonic patterns go, I mean, think of what the foundation we're building on. Just for D major, we've got 3 shapes for the chords. They're 3 string shapes. Then we've got the arpeggios. So you get 3 of everything. Well, on the pentatonic patterns, you have 5. Penta. You end up with 5 patterns to move along the board. So you can do the D major here. You got this one, this one, this one, this one, and back to the first one. So I just played through 6 of them. I did 5 and then 1 repeat. How can you remember these? Well, that's what I struggled with 20 years ago. I could never get it to stick. There's something that helps. First of all, we're going to do these just on 2 strings, because once you truly understand the 2-string versions, you really will be able to throw in that 3rd string in some really wonderful ways. So let me give you 3 of them right off the bat. If we're going to do these 2-string pentatonic patterns, you're going to have 3 notes on the bass, 3 notes on the middle. So look at the L chord. Review your arpeggio just on the bass and middle. Here's your pentatonic on the bass and middle. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. I was calling out chord degrees there. So that's 1 of the 5. Let's go on to the slant. The main one for the slant is right here. 3 notes on the bass, 3 notes on the middle. For the slant, you've got this one. Sorry, the extended slant, the extended. Let's go through these. I told you there's 5 pentatonic patterns. I just showed you 3 of them. So we've only got 2 more, but let's solidify what we've got so far. You've got your L chord, your slant, your extended back to L. You can do a 2-string arpeggio on the bass and middle for each one of those. That's the slant, extended, sorry, that's the L. That's the L. This is your slant. This is your extended rushing because the sun is going away. And back to your L. Then for each one of these you have a pentatonic pattern. The one that's around the L. The one that's around the slant. The one that's around the extended slant. And then back to the L. All right, so that was a repeat shape. So I give you 3 chord shapes, 3 arpeggios on 2 strings, 3 pentatonic patterns on 2 strings. And these are the major pentatonics. Well, where are the other 2 pentatonic shapes? Check this out. Between the L and the slant, you have one. Between the extended slant and the L, you have another one, and that's it. There is no shape between the slant and extended slant. So here's your L pentatonic. Here's your slant pentatonic. Well, in between these two, you have what I call a transitional pentatonic, and it's right here. On the bass, I'm playing a 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. So what you want to do is use that often as you're moving left and right on the fingerboard. So you got your L, or pentatonic, and then you've got your slant. But as you're moving left and right, use that transitional shape for smoothness, really. There's the transition, and then I'm to the slant. Okay? There is no transition between the slant and the extended as far as a pentatonic pattern. I mean, you could use other things. There is a shape between the extended pentatonic and the L pentatonic, and it's right here. 5, 7, 8 on the bass, 5, 7, 8 on the middle. So let's go through all of them. You got your L, the transition that's to the right of it, the slant, the extended, the transition that's to the right of that, and the L that's to the right of that. That is how you use 3 chord shapes. They're matching 2-string arpeggios to help you find the 5 pentatonic positions. And this is what you see guitarists doing. This is what you see mandolin players doing, the good ones. They're not hunting for things, hoping they get the right stuff. I think they see the money notes and they grab them, and you put stuff between them and you've got a nice melody. The minor is different, but before we talk about that, let's look at the fact that we just did D only. What about G? Well, I'll let you work that out, but you've got all the same shapes for G. So I've got my extended slant, L, slant, extended for the G. My 2-string arpeggios. And then I've got the 5 pentatonics. So I got the one that goes along with the extended. You know, we don't teach this a lot. We teach just play a D arpeggio the whole time. No, that's just beginner land. It works sometimes for us, but we got to move past that. You got the transition that's to the right of the extended slant, the L, the transition that's to the right of the L, then you've got the slant, and then to the right of the slant is the extended. There is no transition. For A, you got the same thing. The extended, to the right of the extended is the transition. This is for A major. The L, the transition. Notice how I keep hammer on the root. And then the, what did I just play? I did the A, I did the L. To the right of the L is a transition. And then the slant. Nothing between the slant and the extended. What's really useful, just for the major chords, the 1, 4, and 5, is to keep your hand in these positions. So I could do a chord, and then I'll play the pentatonic that matches where my hand is, but I will be emphasizing the roots, thirds, and fifths, and sometimes the sevenths. So here's the pentatonic pattern for D major, just on the 2 strings. And then I can go to the 4 here. And then I've run out of notes, so I'm going to use part of the form that would be here if we had notes to the left for the A, and then back to D. Now I can move up to the next group of 3 major pentatonics. Here's the, that's your extended slant pentatonic for an A, and then I go to the D. And then a G. This is a transitional. And then the A. And then the D. And you can keep moving up through all 5 positions. D, G, A. And really, to have the smoothest transitions, well, the smoothest moves from one chord to the next, that's where those 5 pentatonic positions come in. It's not enough to have 3. Move up, a D chord, and then the G, and then the A, back to D, D, G, A, D. And then you're back up into repeat territory. D, G, and then the A, and then D. What's the real benefit of some of this? It's good voice leading, and it's having really smooth options available right where your hand is. You know, of course we need to move left and right, but sometimes you just want to stay right where you're at and grab stuff, and that tends to give a really smooth, melodic sound. So that's 1, 4, 5. That's the majors. What about the minors? Well, here's where you're going to want to give up on me, but don't give up yet. You've got these minor pentatonics, and they're a little different, and it's not the only way to handle the minor chords, but it's one way to handle them. So often when I'm improvising, for the major 1, 4, and 5 chords, I use the matching pentatonics. So if it's a D chord, I'm using D major pentatonic. G major, I use G major pentatonic. A major, I use A major pentatonic. But when it comes to the minors, sometimes I just lean heavily on whatever the minor pentatonic is for the 6th chord of the key. In the key of D major, that would be a B minor. So whether I'm doing a B minor, an E minor, or an F sharp minor, you might hear me jamming out on a B minor chord the whole time. B minor or pentatonic pattern. Now this is a part I'm still learning about, but I think it's important to think about. Sometimes I match the minor pentatonic to the chord itself. So I'll do an E minor pentatonic when the E minor chord is happening. An F sharp minor pentatonic for the F sharp minor chord, and a B minor when the B minor happens. Now the cool thing here is you don't have to learn a bunch of new pentatonic patterns, but it is good to kind of pretend you are. So let me show you what I mean by that. Your B minor and D major share the same pattern. So here's D major. Well, that happens to be the same pattern that matches the L chord and the L arpeggio. So what about E minor? Well, you got this one. What does that match? Well, that's the same as the G major, one of the transitional pentatonics for G major. Here's your E minor 2-string arpeggio, and then you got this minor pentatonic, same for F sharp minor. Here's your 2-string minor arpeggio. The F sharp minor is the same as the A major. So it's not going to be a totally new shape. You're going to recognize it, but you do need to think of it as a new shape if you really want to emphasize roots, thirds, and fifths. All right. So for the L's, let's do B minor. That's the 6th chord of the key. 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. These are beautiful if you put your little micro bends and a little bit of vibrato. Don't overdo it. Just the smallest bend. E minor, same shape. F sharp minor, same shape. Back to B minor. All right, well, what about for the slants? Well, my B minor slant, arpeggio is right here. And the minor pentatonic scale for this is right here, 012, 013, which happens to be the same as a D major, which is why you want to emphasize the root, third, and fifth of a B minor. Otherwise, it'll sound like a D major. We can do the same thing, the slant for G major. Sorry, the slant for E minor. It's the same shape as G major, but you want to emphasize roots, thirds, and fifths for the E minor. Don't you love that dog? All right, so then you've got an F sharp minor slant right here, same shape as A major. For the extended slant, B minor, you got this one, 2, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. This is the same as D major, but you want to emphasize the root, third, and fifth of a B minor. All right, same thing for E minor. And also for F sharp minor, which is the same as the A. You get part of it down here, but not the whole thing. But it's a good one to use. So that's 3 minor pentatonics. What? Oh man, have you even listened this long? It's only 23 minutes. We're advanced chromatic players, right? We got to dig into this if we're going to pass this stuff on before we croak. All right, so I just showed you 3 of the minor pentatonic scales that match the 3 minor chords of D major. Super important for actually knowing what you're doing melodically. Well, what about, there's 2 more, right? We haven't talked about. Well, check this out. In the minor realm, there's always a transitional shape between the extended slant and the L. And it's right here. So I've got my extended B minor. I've got my L. And then the extended, the transitional that's between them. So the extended slant, I'm getting tired, the transitional, and then the one that matches the L. So now we got 4 of them. You just need 1 more. There is one right here. So to the right of every minor slant, in between the slant and the extended, you have something right between them, which is right here. So what's the summary of that? Well, in between, for B minor, in between the extended slant and the L, that's the extended. In between the extend and the L, you have a transitional. Here's the L. You also have a transition between every slant and every extended slant. There's the transition right there. So what this means is you don't have anything between an L and a slant. Now, if you end up spending the next few months really hammering the heck out of that, or however long it takes, what's the end result? Well, the end result is wherever your hand is in 5 places, you can run through all 6 chords. So I want you to see that right here. I'm going to start with the L. I'm going to follow the chord progression of Pachelbel's, but I modified it a little. Here's the 5 chord, and then the 6, and then the 3, and then the 4, and then the 1, the 2, and then the 5. I just added a 2 right before that last 5. That's just one position for Pachelbel's. Before you do all 5, it's good to have the arpeggios down. 1, the 2-string, 2 notes per string arpeggios. 5, and then the 6, the 3, the 4, 1, 2, and then the 5 again. Do that all the way down. 1, 5, 6, and then the 3, the 4, 1, the 2, 5, 1, and then the 4. Sorry, that's the 5 chord. So 1, 5, a dog, and then 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. All right. Make sure you can do those arpeggios. Make sure you can do the chords. 1, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. 1, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. You know, and that stuff's going to be your foundation, because what you need to be able to do is do the pentatonics in all these places. So here's the end of the video, and hopefully we'll be done at the 30-minute mark. I'm going to do 5 positions, go through the 2-string major and minor pentatonics for the 6 chords in each key. All right, so check this out. 1, I already did this first one. I just want to do it again. 5, and then here's the 6, and then the 3, which is got to emphasize the roots, thirds, and fifths as you're making up this stuff. 4, 1, 2, and then 5. Now I'm going to move to the next position to the left. 1, 5, and then the 6, and then the 3, 4, and then the 1, the 2, then the 5. Next position, 1, 5. Sometimes I'll put some other notes in there. 6. And then the 3. 4, 5, 1. And then the 2. And then the 5. Next position, 1, 5. And then the 6, the 3, 4, 1. And then the 2, and then the 5. Final position, 1. And then we're going over time a little, the 5. And then the 6. And the 3. 4. There it is, 1. And then the 2. And the 5. You know, I don't want to think about this stuff longer than the next few months, because ultimately I want to jam out, but I'm just tired of feeling locked in, being afraid of the next note. Where is it? Where's the next good note? I don't want to have to figure it out. I want to just be able to close my eyes and play melodies wherever my hand is. And I think that for some people, this is a way to get there. Not everybody. But some of you have been looking for something like this that allows you to have a command of the fingerboard that starts being analytical and maybe a season of hard practice, but is followed by pure artistic freedom and expression. That's all. See you. Thanks. Later.